Ah, Hey there, everyone. Feeling good and inspired today and wanted to record a short video. Um, Before I dive into anything, the first thing I'll do is just invite you to allow your body to breathe in the way that feels most naturally pleasant. For everything I do, I offer a couple of reminders to start. The first thing is that nothing about you needs to be any different. And the second reminder is that everything I offer is an invitation. So if something doesn't feel good, don't do it. Simple as, right? Then I guess a final invitation before I dive into some thoughts and content is I'll really invite you to listen in the way that feels most pleasant. Sometimes we don't recognize how much we're straining or seeking to escape or seeking to make ourselves different, even in the way we're listening, um, moment to moment. So, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, Adi Shanti, I was listening to one of his talks recently, and he suggested to listen to spiritual talks like you're listening to the rain. And I really like that. It has your full attention, but you're not grasping. You're receiving, allowing, resonating. So if that sounds good to you, roll with it. And what I wanted to talk about today is nourishment or nurturance, and how that's a healthier approach than the type of positive thinking and positivity that um, has been so prevalent for a long time. Many of us have been exposed to different things, like whether it's like making gratitude lists or trying to look on the bright side. And, sometimes those things can be just fine, obviously. Um, but the truth is, it's actually much, much simpler and much, much more effective to actually practice holding yourself with care. And you might ask, like, what does that actually look like? Well, it's simple. When I feel anxious, oftentimes, like my brain will literally kind of hurt or feel tense. You know how you can get tension headaches if you are too anxious and wound up for too long. And it looks like recognizing that and literally taking the time to spend some time with your headspace, with your brain, and holding it with that sense of care, whatever sense of care feels good. I remember doing this with a young client of mine back when I was doing therapeutic work, and it was their first time in therapy, um, and she was feeling anxious about some things with her family dynamics, um, and really getting wound up, really intense sort of thinking. And I was just like, take a minute. Okay, where do you feel that? Where's that happening in your head? Literally just find where it is. Um, and now once you got it, just practice like literally holding that space with a sense of care. You could offer it softness, warmth, sense of a cool breeze, whatever feels good. And she did it for, like 10, 20, 30 seconds. And she eventually was like, oh, that really worked. She was really surprised, compared to what she was doing before, which was like trying to logic through these things and be like, well, you know, my parent says these things, but I really think she means this, and trying to actually reinterpret things to feel positive, to appear positive. Um, and that really typically doesn't get you anywhere good. It might smooth things over and make things feel less acutely bad, but it doesn't address, like, you know, the tension of what's actually happening. And to actually get anywhere, you actually have to start with caring for what's actually here. And so I'll have future videos that talk about, like, sifting through relational difficulties and finding clear and clean emotional boundaries. But a lot of it starts with what's the most healthy immediate response to presently occurring phenomena. Um, and the truth is, the deepest wisdom when it comes to emotions is the same for both negative and positive emotions, negative versus positive, which is kind of an undercooked dichotomy. And what I mean by that is, at the most fundamental basic level, the healthiest way to treat a positive emotion is just to meet it with care. Let it arise and fall away as it will, without trying to make it different. Just appreciating it for what it is. And you know what the best thing I do with a negative emotion is? Just to meet it with care, appreciating it for what it is, and allowing it to arise and fall away as it will. That doesn't mean we don't seek out care and support for the negative emotion, but that's the act of care, the act of holding it properly. And with a positive emotion, it doesn't mean we don't celebrate it. It doesn't mean we don't enjoy it. But it also means we don't grasp for it or try to cling to it or tell ourselves there's something wrong with us when it goes away. Because all these emotions arise and fall away, as all things do. So what you can take away from this today and what I'll offer is simple. And it's just the practice of, like, holding yourself with care. You can practice it when you're not feeling anything particular. And you can go through different emotional centers in your body. When I lead my meditations, I tend to focus on head, heart, and belly. And so you can take time to be like, oh, hold my head with care, hold my heart with care, hold my belly with care. Or you can take the practice into everyday life. And when you notice yourself feeling anything really, but particularly when you notice tension or anger or anxiety or fear or uncertainty, just practice noticing it, meeting it wherever it is somatically in your body, and just hold it with care. Just giving it that little bit of proper attention, caring, gentle, direct attention, makes things a little bit more spacious around it, makes everything a little bit more workable. And you'll find with time that the expression of care becomes less and less effortful, to the point that it doesn't even feel like you're really doing anything. You're just in contact with life, in contact with the unfolding emotional landscape of your life. Doesn't mean it won't be challenging, but in my experience, it does make it more fun. That's all for today.